So, Nick, Bam Bam, Mr. Tai Tuivasa, 5 wins in a row, 5 knockouts in a row, and the last one coming against none other than the knockout king himself, Derrick Lewis. It certainly feels to me like a star was born in Houston last night.
Yeah, and in Derrick Lewis's hometown. I mean, Derrick Lewis, until his fight with Cyril Gane, had never lost in the city of Houston. He knows how to perform in front of his people, and he felt like he really owed the crowd a big, return fight to Houston. And while he didn't get his hand raised, this fight lived up to everybody's expectations and then some. What an awesome fight. Tai Tuivasa, I think one thing about this guy that is underrated is his chin. He might have one of the best chins in the heavyweight division. If you go in there and take multiple shots from Derrick Lewis and then are able to have your wits about you to throw shots back, it tells you just how tough this dude is. He's the real deal. He might not look it, but his skills are of a high-level athlete. He's one of the more athletic, exciting fighters in the heavyweight division.
There is no doubt about it. Bam Bam is truly something special. He's becoming a pop culture kind of fan favorite with the shoeies, things like that. Make no mistake about it. This was a pro Derrick Lewis crowd last night. When Tai Tuivasa did a shoey on his way out, the crowd roared. I mean, even though this is a pro Derrick crowd, the MMA community is really starting to take notice and really fall in love with the character that is Tai Tuivasa. But his skills are very, very good. And like you said, his chin might be one of the most underrated in all of MMA. He stood in the pocket with Derrick, bit down on his mouthpiece, and exchanged blows in that first round. And some of those blows that Derrick threw got through. Yeah. Some of them really hurt Tai, and he was able to just like he did against Greg Hardy, he stood right in the pocket, bit down on his mouthpiece, and just delivered some absolutely devastating punches. Derrick actually showed us a wrinkle in his game as well with the wrestling, and that I think is credit to Joe Murphy, Lauren Murphy's husband. He is the grappling coach over at Main Street Muay Thai, and he's big on those inside-outside leg trips, and Derrick hit a few of them beautifully, but Tai responded well, getting himself back up to his feet. When you have a guy who weighs damn near 300 pounds when he's not cutting weight for a fight on top of you, it's very difficult to get up from that. Even if Derrick's not a Division I wrestler or a jiu-jitsu specialist, just the sheer power and weight on top of you, being able to get up from that is something to be remarked. And I think that Tai Tuivasa at 28 years old, putting on the kinds of performances he's putting on, is primed to really be one of the guys that takes charge in this future of the heavyweight division. Yeah,
I think Tai Tuivasa has future champion written all over him, but I don't want people to see Derrick Lewis losing last night as a lesser Derrick or somebody who's not making progress and moving forward in his career. That might have been the best Derrick Lewis we've ever seen.
Yeah,
he was doing some things that we haven't seen him do before. He was throwing all kinds of things that aren't just heavy hands. The takedowns were really nice. They looked like not only well thought out but well timed, and they worked.
Yeah.
So I was really impressed with that. I think that when you have two guys with the power that these guys have, throwing with each other one after the next, somebody's going to go down. And Derrick also showed a great chin, but when you get your head caught up there right by the fence, the top of the cage, and somebody throws an elbow like that, Tai Tuivasa threw that thing all the way from the area, all the way from down under, and it came up, and it was just too much. I mean, rarely do you see Derrick Lewis fall asleep in the cage, and this is one of those situations where he got hit with something so hard that it just shut the lights out for him. But you got to give the major respects to Derrick Lewis for taking this fight. He was number 3, and just like everybody else in the top 5, top 3, you really do have to take care of that number and preserve it a little bit. Derrick said to hell with that. I don't care. I like Tai Tuivasa. I think he's a cool guy. I like him personally. I think his fighting style is really cool. I'd like to fight him. Who cares if he's number 11? And that's a big risk, and unfortunately it didn't pay off for him. I don't think we're going to see a swap in the rankings, but Tai Tuivasa is likely going to be number 3, and Derrick Lewis is likely going to slide right out of the top 5, which, I mean, high risk, high reward. This sport is not very forgiving, and it's something that most people should admire and be really grateful for Derrick Lewis about, because he didn't take some easy fight. He didn't try to coast. He didn't try to, finagle his way into title fights without fighting. Do as much talking and little fighting as possible with moving forward. I love it. I think it was really cool. It was a cool move. Tai Tuivasa rose to the occasion, and I think we got a future star at top 5.
Absolutely. And the fact that he lost to Cyril Gane and then immediately fought Chris Daukaus and now Tai Tuivasa, who were both substantially behind him as far as the rankings go, is not something to just brush over. That shows you the kind of character and the kind of fighter that Derrick Lewis is. But with regards to Tai's ranking, I want to see a 5 or better come Tuesday morning. Tai Tuivasa is a top 5 heavyweight. He was able to do what Cyril Gane wasn't able to do. Cyril kind of cerebrally picked Derrick apart a bit and was able to get the finish later on in the fight. But Derrick wasn't unconscious. He was just kind of covering up and trying to survive. Tai Tuivasa folded him forward with that elbow. I mean, it was a thing of absolute beauty. And he said, they don't call me Muay Thai for no reason. He really can mix up the striking. He's got great hands, but make no mistake about it, he's a very well-versed and has a lot of tools in his toolbox as far as the striking department goes.
Yeah, he's super athletic. And him and Derrick both kind of get no credit for being athletes, but these guys can move like crazy. They're very fast. They jump and do switch kicks, and they're taking people down now apparently, and they're throwing things with a lot of power, which everybody knows heavyweights have tons of power, but they're throwing them at the right times, and they're mixing them up at their setups and everything very, very intelligently. I think it's almost like old school to say that the heavyweights are no longer like talented and they're just like these big guys that go rock 'em sock 'em until one of them falls asleep. These guys are high level athletes just like everybody else. The only difference is they're playing the riskiest game in the sport, in the most difficult, riskiest sport there is. MMA, obviously there's so many ways to lose, but everybody in the top of the heavyweight division can put everybody else to sleep, and that's why it makes it such a risky game. That's why the pace is always different than all the other smaller fighters. It makes for quite an exciting fight. This tough pill to swallow is people that are friends with Derrick Lewis to see him not get his hand raised. But like I said, his stock still goes up in my opinion on this. I don't think he's going to slip too far out of the rankings, and we'll likely see him back in there later this year, maybe in the summer or something like that, and hopefully getting right back into the win column.
For sure, for sure. Well, guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Certainly a star was born last night in Houston, Texas. Tai Tuivasa, if he wasn't on your radar, he certainly is now. Drop us a comment. Let us know what you thought about his performance, and we will see you in the next video.
Peace.